Eurotrip 2004. This was one of those films that reminded me of happy times in the noughties. I mean, that decade was a really good one for me. And it was a film that my sister and I liked equally. We had very different tastes. She was often irreverent, and I found her contrary often. But this kind of humour brought us together because we liked it enough. I mean, she was into football and West Ham and very into a lot a lot of things I didn't really understand and perhaps still don't, but, um, the films like this still provide fond memories of that time. And yet, I guess there's quite a lot about this film that's feels a bit dated now. I've not just seen it all over again, but I've seen some clips and I seen the trailer again. And out of the clips, one really tragic thing is Michelle Trachtenberg, who played Jenny, died earlier this year. And so that's another really heartbreaking thing about revisiting this film. I mean, one moment I uh, did watch some clips was when the Pope was being elected, the new Pope in April. But then I was reminded that Michelle Trachtenberg had died in February. So there's a lot of mixed emotion about this film. But it's a comedy, and it's an American road trip in Europe. It's student, and it's a fun one. I mean, in the noughties, road trips were something I absolutely loved. And one thing I've mentioned, Rules of Attraction 2002, quite a lot. Now that has a European tour by Victor, and that's a lot more. It's very straight. It's very macho, and it's got not really got humor in it as such. It's very um, chauvinistic. I mean, I found it really fascinating watching it. Uh, I've I certainly liked Roger Avery at the time. Guess I've got a fondness for that as well. Like I have for Quentin Tarantino and his films, all those sort of things. There's a lot that if I revisit from the 90s and the early to mid noughties, that probably clashes with how I feel about things now. But it's because the political climate has changed in many ways, and it's got much scarier in more recent times. And that's I could spend a long time unpacking that, and I won't be doing that in this film. I'll just review it. So to summarize it, to give a synopsis, there's Scott Meschlowitz, who plays Scotty Thomas. There's Jacob Pitts, who plays Cooper Harris. Michelle Trachtenberg plays Jenny, and Travis Wester plays Jamie. And they're like four American students. They fly over to, firstly, to the UK. They think everything's really close. I guess it is compared to the USA. Uh, but they meet up. They meet up with some football hooligans in a pub, quaint English pub, and there's Vinnie Jones extricating beer bottle tops with his eyelids or something like that, and he's like, um, commandeered a an old Route Master double-decker bus for a trip to Paris, and of course, they're football thugs, so and that was the kind of thing that kind of really appealed to my sister more than me, but, I could see the humour. And then there's all these, like, clashes, humorous hostility, like, between these Americans and a mime artist in Paris. The various scenes, they go on a train trip to Amsterdam, I think it's to Amsterdam, on, a train where every time they go in the tunnel, it's completely dark, and there's this, um, gentleman sitting opposite, and he goes, "Mi scusi," as he, molests them, and it's so it's like it's really dodgy humour, uh, but it's got a funny side as well. It's kind of like awkward, kind of cringy humour, but I certainly laughed a lot when I first saw it. The friends I saw it with laughed a lot. Um, I feel it is much more. I mean, there's a lot of xenophobia. We've had Brexit, and so all the Mickey taking of other countries except the UK. I mean, open season in the UK because I'm British, so I can take the Mickey out of my fellow country people, I think. Um, I feel less comfortable about s- over egging the stereotypes of other countries, but there was humour in, situations as well. I mean, it was like this film involves things like eating, uh, dope cakes or, hash browns that are laced with drugs and going in, sex dungeons, that sort of there's kind of stuff in this, um, that is really, mm, I don't know. It's, I mean, some of the humor again, there's a Flugen K Urashiyawa Suyen, which was the safe word, escape out of, the sort of chains that, I don't know. I don't want to explain the whole film because it's actually, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Find out whether you find it humorous. I mean, one thing that my sister observed at the time when films like Hostel came out a couple of years later, that was about 2005. Hostel came out, and that was similar. It was based on a similar area, and yet it was really dark. It was like a horror film, but in the same area and with much more menacing consequences. So that provided I saw Hostel 2 as well before. In around 2007, 8, I started getting put off horror films because I saw quite a few and I saw Funny Games, and that's all right, the antidote or total antidote to horror films, if you ever see that. I think I've got to review it. It's, I mean, it's a good critique of action films as well, I think. But there's a lot about humour that, the element of surprise can make something funny if you see it again, and if you see it a lot later when you've experienced a lot more in life, humour sort of gets watered down a bit. Now, Scotty's gone to Europe because he's like got blocked by his pen pal after he's mixed up the names of Jan and Mika, thinking they're like American names and they're, gender swapped, as in, Mika's a woman and Jan's a man, and so he's been thinking they're the other way around, and he he finds what Mika says creepy, but, oh, there's so much about this because it's his younger brother who points out, who understands the language better and owns him and explains what it is, and that's where he realizes when he gets blocked by Mika, um, that he wants to go out and meet her, and I don't know. I mean, the 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 thing where they go to Bratislava, does take a few dot turns there. Ah, there's stuff in there's the Vatican scenes, the Pope scenes. Guess there's a lot that is controversial. I had to see it around the time of the vote for the Pope this year round, just as an antidote to everything that was going on at that point. Um, and I probably wouldn't have thought of covering this film in a review if it hadn't been for that. Um, they go hitchhiking. They drink vermouth, which is apparently illegal. It was in the USA. Um, now, um, I think um, at the time I would say, and I haven't checked. I'll check my original review, but I'm sure I'd have given it fairly high mark, somewhere near 9. But given all the problematic stuff, the stereotypes, the sort of areas of xenophobia, the uncomfortable stuff, macho stuff. There's a token woman, she's played by Jenny, played by Michelle Trachtenberg. Um, a lot of the humour's at her expense. I guess there's so much about this film that is mm, a bit cringy at times. That I think now I'd still find it funny, but not nearly as much, and I'd give this film a score of about 7.5, so it's significant drop from 9, but it still retains a lot of fondness. I think I will see it at some point, and when I do see it again, I will, then I'll be able to give, as a review on Cali Seconds, but, someone mentioned, would I review Ted? I'm thinking, the humour in that might be quite interesting to revisit. So if I can get a chance to see that film all over again sometime in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something very soon, I hope to see it, and then I'll do a review of that. It'll be really interesting because it's been, what, probably 10 years since I've seen that. I saw Ted 2, whenever that was, a year or 2 after that. It's gotta be at least 10 years, hasn't it? Um, but this film, it was fun. Um, it'd be really I'd really like to see it again, I think. I feel like a lot of films, there's especially if you see or listen to the audio commentary, hear the director and things like that, that can give some interesting insights into the thought processes that went into why particular things were chosen in films. And that would be interesting to um, review at the same time as seeing this film again. But I'd really like to know what you think about this film, if you've seen it recently or if you saw it back in the noughties, like when I first saw it. Um, I, you know, I'd like to know what you think. Please leave your comments. Please like this review if you like it. Thanks. If you subscribe, please hit the notification button. And I hope to see you again soon, and bye for now.